Georgia plays Alabama. You're in the midst of a playoff run, so we're going to talk about what life is like as a coach doing that. We got a great action-packed show for you guys. Let's get it.
Audio Jungle.
All right, that intro means only one thing. It's time for the regular guys, the late night regular guys after dark. Welcome to the After Dark Network. Israel Troupe joining me after a string of morning practices. We're going to talk about that, what it's like to practice in the morning. I know our baseball team here at Lawson is doing morning workouts, but that's nothing like regular full season practices. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But there's a game. I don't know if you've heard about it. It's in Athens. This little team, Alabama. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're coming to town. We're gonna try to black it out again. Is that? Are we going back to the well on that one, or what do you say about this game, man? What do you think?
I'm gonna say no. Let's not wear black jerseys. I think that's more so for the fans. Let's black out the stadium itself. But I think and I hope that we're wearing our traditional red jerseys and silver breeches. But I think it's going to be a great game. I think Alabama's starting to figure it out for themselves. So, we won't get a pity party. Well, you called them when they were this, that, and the third. I think we're going to catch a really good Alabama group. And it's going to be great to have them, back at Sanford Stadium, which, we haven't beat them in regular season since I think 2007. So, I think we're due, and I think if we're going to catch them, we got to catch them right now. So I think it's going to be a really good game.
Yeah, I do too, man. And I was talking about it because there's a lot of Bama fans where I work at the school I work at, and obviously I'm very outnumbered in that regard for when it comes to Bama versus Georgia. Like there's like one other Georgia fan, and she's kind of her head's in the clouds, so she didn't really know. But when I was talking to my Bama people, we're talking trash back and forth, and I got serious for a minute, and I was like, this game with the quarterbacks, like they're very similar in their stature. They're very similar in how they play. Gunner's probably more of a runner than Ty, but Ty's probably a little bit more of a passer than Gunner, so they balance each other out. Like I think you look across the board. Then I started looking across the board. I'm like, okay, well, receiving cores are relatively the same. Defenses, they're relatively the same. I think Georgia's more physical overall. I think they have a little bit more physical toughness overall. And to me, that's going to be the difference in this game. Like I think Georgia's going to find a way to win up front. I think that's ultimately what they did at Tennessee was anytime they started to kind of lose control of the game, they regained it up front and being physical. I think that's what helped keep Tennessee in being able to miss that field goal because they could never really get in range because Georgia won the battles up front to make that attempt longer than it probably could have been because Tennessee had some momentum going. So there's a lot in this game when you look at it just beyond individual matchups between individual players. I think across the board, it's just going to be, hey, who can be the last one standing after the slugfest?
I think it's going to be who has the ball last is going to win the football game. This is one of those matchups where, like you said, it's pretty one of the most even matchups that you can get, though that's been had in the last couple of years when you look at the Alabama versus Georgia over the years. And let's just be real, Alabama's really had the upper hand on Georgia as far as, the talent as a group, not every position, but as a group, as a whole team-wise, Alabama's kind of had the better talent in those games. But we've also been the most physical team in those ball games as well. So, and it all comes down to who has the ball last. So, this game, with it being in Athens, I think is kind of special. Because I think as a Georgia fan, as a guy that's never going to go against Georgia a day in my life, I think it's time for the world to see how mature Gunnar is. I think it's time for the world to see how mature our offensive line is. I think it's time for Bobo to get these people off his back. And once again, I will always support Bobo. And you people that don't like Bobo, this is what you should do. let's look at the execution of the play before you criticize the play itself. Because we've thrown that screen that Brent scored on against Tennessee, I don't know, about 15 times before he scored on it the other night. So there's that.
Yeah, I mean, I think people just get used to, oh, it's another screen. Oh, it's another run up the middle. It's run up the ass of the center twice, throw a screen on third down and punt. Like, that's the Mike Bobo experience, right? That everybody loves, the Mike Bobo experience. But, you know, I think we missed you guys last week as far as, you know, talking about this Tennessee game and just kind of how I think that, you know, or I think it should have. I don't know that it's fully changed because I don't think it'll ever fully change because people are just really stubborn on their opinions on Mike Bobo. But I think you saw a step in the right direction. I think you saw a Mike Bobo that got more into the flow of the game. I think you saw more of the evolution of Bobo into the new Todd Monken Bobo system that they had going on with Stetson Bennett and then what he took over. Like, I think you saw some of that. Like, I don't think you got to see the full-fledged evolution of that last year. I think you saw parts of it the year before. But, you know, again, as a play caller, when you're reinventing yourself as a play caller, like, there's also adjustment period. You haven't done it in a while. There's an adjustment period with trying to kind of retool your scheme and retool your play calling structure. And that takes time. And I think he's finally starting to get in his groove a little bit. And now I think you're about to see this offense take off because they were explosive in Knoxville. And I think they're going to do a lot of the same things.
It also goes with who your personnel is. You know, like I said, it goes back to look at who we've had up front compared to who Todd Monken had up front in those championship runs. You know, and those 5 guys, you know, that protect the quarterback are very, very important to the things that you can do, whether it be run or pass. So if you're just watching the play, oh my God, run up the middle again. All right, let's talk about the execution of this. Did we get the double team that we were supposed to have? Was it, you know, a reach block or a scoop block? Was he down blocking? Was somebody supposed to pull? You know, things like that people don't take into account, you know,
or did the guy just flat out get beat?
Yeah. You know, one play, I think it was 3rd and 7, I think in the 4th quarter, you know, the left tackle gets beat, you know, and Gunnar takes a sack right there. You know, was somebody open? Yes. But, oh my God, we can't believe we're calling them, you know, when could have thrown a screen and gotten the first down. You know, so there's just situations like that, you know, that as a coach now, you know, I'm like, y'all are retarded or y'all are stupid, you know, and it's like, if you were sitting here looking down, you know, at these players in this play and you're like, this is going to work. And then so all of a sudden it doesn't, it's a bad feeling, really, really bad feeling. As a play caller, you're like, this is dead. This is 100% going to work. Then one person doesn't do their job, and now it's a bad play.
And now people are booing you, and people are saying, fire Bobo or fire Troop. You know, this guy don't know his ass from a bag of sand. Yeah, you know, all that stuff. And it's just it's odd, you know. And I think being experienced play callers, I think you and I can really kind of get in his shoes a little bit, maybe not to the degree of like calling it at the collegiate level, but all in all, it's really, except for like longer verbiage, it's really not much different as far as getting in the flow of a game. It's knowing the situation, knowing what you're setting up, knowing that, okay, well, if I'm going to run it up the ass of the center, you know, 40 times a game, as people perceive it, like I'm setting up RPOs, I'm setting up play action shots, I'm setting things up. And eventually that no gain will turn into 2 or 3, turn into 4 or 6, and then it'll boom, pop for 20.
Yes.
And then next thing you know, you're running duo, and next thing you know, your linemen are getting fired up, you're getting double teams, you're getting people getting mauled, and next thing you know, you're ripping off chunk yardage there. And that's how you take over a game. That's called being patient as a play caller. And Georgia, I think, does a phenomenal job of being patient, like not once. And I know I can guarantee you 3/4 of the fan base in the first quarter and a half of that Tennessee game was like, "Oh crap, we're about to get run out of the building." You know who didn't feel that way? Kirby, Bobo, the team. They stayed in it. They stayed patient. They just I don't think they broke stride. They just, hey, this is our game plan. We're going to execute our game plan. We're not going to panic. We're going to chip away at it. Eventually, Tennessee's going to fold after they come down off their emotional high, and we're just going to grind it out. And I saw Vanderbilt, and since I cover Vanderbilt for the Locked On Network, like I saw Vanderbilt do the same thing at South Carolina. Like they take the ball down, they drive down, and really kind of take the crowd out of it. South Carolina roars right back. And it's one of those where you're just like, okay, we're in for it now. And then all of a sudden, Vanderbilt's like, okay, well, you can have your fun. We're just gonna be even keel, and we're gonna do our thing. And next thing you know, it's 31-7. You're like, what just happened?
Yeah, those people across from the line of scrimmage, they recruit and do things as well. So they're really good. They got really good coaches on their side too. So it kind of helps. But, I'm just looking forward to just us coming out and playing a complete game. I want to see us play a complete game. I think the offense played well last game, but our defense played well at times. The biggest thing on defense for us, can we play one-on-one, which we have been able to do in the last couple of years, and can we get pressure on the quarterback? Those are the two questions right now that, to me, have not been answered yet.
Yeah, and that was probably coming out of the Tennessee game, and real talk, that was probably the biggest concern. Even Ellis Robinson wasn't playing well one-on-one against Chris Brazzell. Now he's probably likely matched up against Ryan Williams. Like, how do we fare in this matchup? Like, he has to be physical with him at the line of scrimmage. You have to get in Ty Simpson's face. You have to knock him down. You just have to – like, Bama proved to us that – in moments, very brief moments, but in moments in the Wisconsin game, the entire Florida State game, and the other was a tomato can, so that doesn't count. But in those brief moments, they showed that they can be pushed around. Florida State did it for an entire game. Wisconsin just wasn't good enough to do it more than a play or two here and there scattered, so it didn't really matter. But you saw glimpses of it, like, whoa. Now, a good team will take advantage of this. Wisconsin is not one of those teams right now. But you better polish your resume and get ready to move to Madison, because you're going to be the next head coach at Wisconsin, by the way. But it's an odd thing to see Bama not on the delivering end of the physicality.
Yeah,
it's a very odd feeling watching that.
And the people in Alabama are having a fit. So and that's one thing that Kirby brought from Alabama. That's, the staple of how we are now at Georgia. And, there's just who can be the most physical team. And the most physical team is going to win this game on Saturday. That's just bottom line. The most physical team is going to win. And, the team that makes less mistakes throughout the game. Of course, they're going to make mistakes because both teams are really, really good. But who makes the least amount of mistakes throughout the football game?
Or the
execution is going to be key.
Yeah, execution for sure. And I think for Georgia, execution looks like this: Frazier, Gray in the run game, Gunnar Stockton getting involved on some read options, on some quarterback design runs, like doing a better job of getting him more involved with the offense. Now that you're getting the heavy SEC schedule, like maybe you start to unleash a few things. I don't know if they were sandbagging a little bit before the Tennessee game, but maybe you start to kind of slowly unleash some things with Gunnar to truly capitalize on his abilities as a runner, and those abilities to be able to set him up as a passer. Like, he's a good pass. Like, people think, oh, he's just a runner, and we focus on the quarterback run game with him because that's his best attribute. But he really is a great passer. I mean, some of those touchdowns were absolute dimes.
I mean, I think he's second on the all-time Georgia passing list for yards and touchdowns, I believe. I want to say second. Second or third. It was it was Trevor Lawrence, and then it was Deshaun Watson. I think he's second or third, one of those. He's in there. He's in the top 5 for most yards in Georgia. So I mean, obviously he can throw the football. But at the same time, it's his first year as a starter, having to go into Knoxville, see all that ugly orange there. I think he did a phenomenal job of managing that offense and doing his job. I think he's going to grow into be that leader as the years go on, kind of like Jake Fromm did coming in as a freshman and kind of leading his troops. He's going to get there, but he's growing up fast because he doesn't have like a couple of startup games to kind of get him going. He had 2, and now it's SEC play.
Yeah, and here we go. Like, let's ready or not, let's get after it, and let's freaking saddle up and go, man. Here comes Alabama, and it doesn't get any easier after that. I mean, you get Auburn coming up, Florida, Mississippi State, who's you got to go to Mississippi State, which that's not fun ever. When they're slightly good, like we're going to see what Mississippi State has this weekend against Tennessee. And you better not, if you're Tennessee, you better not rest in that game because it's going to be tricky there with Mississippi State. And so you've got a tough schedule down the stretch. And, this game I think is only going to do Gunnar Stockton a bunch of favors, moving forward. And Georgia Tech took you to 8 overtimes a year ago. Now you go down to the Benz, which they're doing the Benz because Georgia Tech's getting renovations on their stadium. Is that?
Yes. So if you go back and watch the Clemson game on I guess it would be the north end zone. Yeah, it'd be the north end zone. That whole piece is missing. Like when they're going that way, you can kind of see the school in the background. So they're doing something over there.
I guess they're just
at their stadium.
They might be connecting everything. Maybe that'd be cool.
I think that's what it is. I think they're connecting the 2 stands together.
All right. So what's your prediction here? Georgia, Alabama. What do we? What are you thinking here?
Oh, I'm thinking it's 31-27 Dawgs. That's my prediction.
That's a phenomenal score. I was thinking like a little bit higher scoring. I was thinking like a 38-31 type game. Dawgs on top. I think it's going to be. I think it's being in the 30s. Yeah. Now, some other interesting games around the conference. We'll just make some quick picks on these. Tennessee, Mississippi State. Like Tennessee's 10.5-point favorites on the road, but Mississippi State is tricky. Does the other Bulldogs cover that?
I like Mississippi State in this one to hold them. I think that I think they've got enough. If they can get pressure on the quarterback, I think they've got enough to hold them. But I think they've been looking pretty good on offense too. So I think they can score a little bit. Yeah,
I think in for SEC After Dark, I picked Tennessee just because I think the depth is going to kind of be, kind of wonky. But Mississippi State, I don't love that pick. If I was picking with confidence, like the little confidence meter, it wouldn't be very high.
Like a 3.5 right now. I think so.
Yeah, it'd be very, very low. I'd be like, I'm picking Tennessee because I don't even really know why, but that's kind of where I'm at on that game. But LSU, Ole Miss. Now, Ole Miss, it's interesting because Ole Miss, they got a little bit of quarterback controversy over there. Trinidad Chambliss is he's their new quarterback for now, but Austin Simmons is slowly coming back from injury. But if Trinidad has a really good game against LSU, what do you do in that situation? He's about to get Wally pipped here.
Mm-hmm. I think at that point, whoever started the season, he lost his job because he was injured. But we also know if Trinidad continues to play well, you can't just take him out. But now it's on Trinidad to continue to play well. Yeah. So if he's not playing well, then obviously you just made my job really easy as a coach. Like, all right, you're good. All right. So you're going back in. So as long as he continues to play well, now you really, like you said, you got a QB controversy on your hands because we all know what Simmons can do.
Yeah.
But I think this weekend is going to tell you, who's my QB looking for, who am I looking at as QB moving forward?
Yeah, for sure. Who wins this game? Does Trinidad, does he help them pull them out, or does LSU take advantage? It's pretty much a pick 'em. So it's pretty much it's a 1.5 point spread. So basically, who wins?
I want to go with LSU here, and I'm going to go with LSU simply because I don't think Ole Miss's defense can hold up that long against LSU. I think they eventually they're going to pop something open, and then they're going to run simply because of the veteran leadership that they have on the offensive side of the ball at LSU. Not saying it's going to be pretty, but I think they've got a little bit more, testicular fortitude to go ahead and win this football game over Ole Miss.
Yeah, I think they certainly have that chance, but for some reason, something's weird in LSU. I don't know what it is, but like Florida turned the ball over 5 times. And I know Florida has a good defense. I know Florida has a lot of talent over there, and I get that. But they turned the ball over 5 times on the road. And usually when you turn the ball over in this league 5 times, it should be a shellacking.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't. They struggled to move the ball. And to the point where Brian Kelly yelled at a reporter for suggesting that maybe they're not as great as they think they are on offense, but deep down he probably knew, and that's why he got real defensive.
Yeah, he knows. He
that
knows.
Being said, this game's always weird because of the rivalry. So I think Ole Miss is going to come through on something just crazy because it's at Ole Miss, and I just something crazy is going to happen in this game, and you're going to be like, whoa. Or like Trinidad is going to be like, hey, Austin, I love you, buddy. You're my friend, but I'm going to take this quarterback job, and I'm going to just do my thing here. So that's kind of how I see it going.
It could definitely happen. I could see it. I could definitely see that happening.
It's just a weird
I
game.
think LSU's defense is what's going to keep them in the game.
Yeah,
that's why I say Ole Miss. I mean, that's why I say LSU.
Yeah, for sure. Now Vanderbilt, Alabama next week. If Vanderbilt comes in 5-0, does game day go to Nashville, or I actually go to Tuscaloosa because that game's in Tuscaloosa? You think game day goes to that game?
I think if Alabama pulls it off, which they won't, but for some forsaken reason that they win, I think that'd be a good one to go to.
Yeah, I think so. But they're not going to beat Georgia, so it doesn't matter. They're gonna be sitting there with 2 losses coming into the Vanderbilt game, and Vanderbilt's going to hand them their 3rd. You heard it here first. No, that's me calling my shot. No homer or anything. All right, so let's talk high school now. Let's dive into what we actually do, or what I used to do because I'm retired, and what you currently do.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like game 5, game 6, right? About where you
game 6. Yeah, game 6.
Undefeated, right?
No, we're 4-1.
4-1. Okay, so now the grind of the season. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you it from a bottom feeder perspective, like where you're at, like when you're having a struggle bus of a season. When you're 4-1, 5-0, you've been 5-0 several times, right? What is it like day to day? Like what are the challenges? What are the great things? Are you guys like just floating out to practice being 4-1? Are you, the morning practices, like how's that phenomenon going with school going on? Like how does all of that work? Because I know that can be exhausting, and we've talked about burnout here, and it's a real thing. I experienced it. That's why I'm retired. A lot of the reason why I'm retired as a coach. But how does the season go when you're making a playoff push? You're looking like, I'm sure the region standings are that of like, it's gonna unfold, but not unfold to like game 10, right?
Yeah, it's literally nobody knows anything until game 10. But for us, we practice. We have morning practice, so practice starts at 5:15. Monday and Tuesday, we go after school on Wednesday, which is our polish day, and then Thursday morning, like tomorrow morning, is our extended polish from today. So
Yeah.
polish for us is what our head coach calls the walkthrough part of it.
I love, like, by the way, I know some people might think that's cheesy, but that's a great name for that. Just so you know.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, because we don't walk around anywhere. That's the reason why we do that.
Yeah.
Monday and Tuesday are our heavy days, so those are our padded days, which we go shells every day.
Mhm.
And Monday and Tuesdays are our work days. Wednesdays are like our mental day, as far as just making sure alignment, assignment, make sure everything's good. We do our opening script. Half of it on, like today, we did the left hash opening script today. Tomorrow morning, we'll do the right hash. We do our odds and ends and red zone stuff on Thursday morning. And then Friday, boom, here we go. But the burnout for us doesn't happen because our kids make it worth getting up and going in the morning and going to work. We call it organized chaos. So Monday and Tuesday, whether it's me, the head coach, or our defensive coordinator, we kind of pick a day to where we just cause massive chaos at practice. It could be one of the best practices in the world, and one of us is hollering and screaming and fussing all the way across the field.
Yeah.
Creating that adverse, atmosphere, like during practice. So in the game, our kids don't crack, if that makes sense. So, we got music blaring. I might, throw the whole ball bag out there in the field, and pretend to be mad and stuff like that. Me and the DB coach are going at it, during one-on-ones, but, it's all been kind of orchestrated to where, hey, this is what's happening today. So it's not a surprise. Some days it's a surprise. I like to surprise people every once in a while, but we call it organized chaos. And every day something's happening every day for that to happen. So we have a great staff. Our staff is together. It's been together 2 years now off of our playoff run from last year. So, we work well together. I think that's the key to having a good football team too, is coaches working together and love working together. But we don't really have the burnout because, we're usually home. Perhaps in the morning we're home. I'm usually walking in my door no later than 7 o'clock some days, unless we have a JV or a middle school game that we stay and support our guys for, things like that. But some days I fall asleep. Like today, when you text me, I was knocked out on the couch.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean that stuff happens. I mean, obviously you're going to get tired, but there's a difference between like being tired or even exhausted. Like you can be even exhausted, but there's no burnout. Like there's days where I'm exhausted and doing this and doing the John Gruden route where I go from coaching to media. Like I'm not burnt out. I'm exhausted most days, but like you wake up, you're like, okay, I see a purpose in all of this. And you bounce right on in there at 4:45 in the morning when you show up and you open that locker room and you flip on the lights and you go to work. So it's good and hopefully that radiates through the kids. And when you said organized chaos, that's a Bill Walsh technique. And I love that because I was reading a Bill Walsh book and he would talk about it was not the Bill Walsh book. There was he wrote multiples, but there was one I was reading and he talked about how he used to in his staff meetings he would be like, "Hey, Coach Troupe, I'm going to scream at you at practice. I'm going to absolutely, I'm going to get on your case and stay on your case the entire practice." And he would plan that. He'd be like, this is what I'm going to do. And his reasoning was like he wanted your position guys to like, oh, they're yelling at coach like, oh, I guess we better You know, like, and it put them kind of like in a, oh, we better show out for coach, right? And that might not be the exact reason you do that, but like for them, it's just getting them, it's just scrambling their brain so they're forced to be able to put it back together. Like you see that special forces training where they put them like in way adverse conditions to where they have to get themselves together and accomplish the goal, which, you know, in the Navy SEALs, like they come down, like they send you down and they rip off your oxygen tank and they mess up your mask, and, you know, they tie your hands behind your back, and you have to survive that. You have to get yourself together, put your tank back on, and go back to the top. Like, I know your case is not that extreme either, but similar concept. But I love it, man. Like it's a new approach of like mental training. Like people don't, like, there's a lot of coaches out there that don't understand the mental training that it takes to play football. And they just think, hey, I'm just going to yell at you and yell at you and yell at you and yell at you. And there's no reasoning behind it. It kind of just rings hollow.
Yeah, kids, they're built different. You know what I mean? You know it as well as I do as a teacher. You know, the days of, hey, I need you to clear the hallway, I need you to find your seat and sit down. You can't say that anymore. You almost have to be like, hey, if you don't get your to that classroom, you know what I mean? Being polite to kids these days just goes in one ear and not the other one. You know,
Yeah.
so I call it, I choose violence every day. You know, and you get to determine how violent I am every day. You know, I can be just as peaceful as you want me to be, or I can be violent, whichever one you want to choose. But our kids are great, you know, and they don't deal well with just, hey guys, we're gonna come in here and this is what we're gonna do. This is the game plan for this week. No, that's not what they want to hear. They want to hear, hey, bada, bada, bada. You know what I mean? Like they want to hear that Kirby Smart, you know, speech. You know, that's what they want. You know what I mean?
They respond to that.
Yeah, and some days I don't have to say a whole lot. I just go in and say, hey, I ain't in the mood today, so y'all better tighten up. And they lead everything. You know, I'm just getting us from period to period, but they actually lead practice themselves as far as getting people organized, you know, moving from transitioning from period to period, you know, setting up drills themselves. You know, a lot of times I give them the freedom to tell me what they want to do, you know, in this particular drill, you know, not just me. All right, if I have something I want to work on, we'll work on it. But I'm like, what do y'all want to do today? All right, this is what we want to work on.
Yeah.
You know, like I think Tuesday we did press releases. You know, the best releases off press. My kids wanted to work those things. So absolutely, come on, let's do it.
Yeah.
You know, so
that's what we're gonna see. So like this is what that blue team over across town is gonna show us. And you know, who would be your main playoff opponent? Like you could throw that out there and be like, this is what Brooks County is gonna do. I don't know if Brooks County is an actual opponent that you guys play in the playoffs, but
it could be we got a lot of people. We got I think Dublin Northeast, which is up there near Macon.
What would get their attention? Who would get their attention the most? Like you'd be like, hey, I bet Dublin is going to be, you know, jamming your ass, you know, like that kind of thing.
Dublin to get them because that's who we lost to in the third round last year. So we'll probably end up seeing them at some point again. And then Toombs, who was the state champion last year, you know, that'll get their attention. But on my scout report every week, you know, I go through each player that's on defense and tell them, all right, this is who we got. This is what's going to happen. This week we got Jeff Davis. So I gave my spiel this week. You know, there's just little things that you have to do every week to kind of get these guys going. Because if you don't, then they won't watch film on their own, even though I wish we had Huddle back in the day. And two, they won't pay attention. So, you know, you have to make it interactive with your kids, with your players, you know, and get their feedback and get them to get up there and draw stuff up and run film. I get my guys to run film sessions all the time. So it's a lot of interaction between us and them throughout the week.
Yeah, you have to ask them like, hey, who's beating us this week? Like who's going to beat us? Like who do you see? Give them homework. Like I like that idea too. Like give them the homework and make them buy into it, make them understand, hey, this is what I've got to notice. And eventually, like they'll, you know, and you say they lead them already, but like they will lead them completely. I think
Mhm.
if you get them to that level, which for high school kids, it can be tough to get them to that level because the attention span of a teenager is, well,
Like that.
let's just say it's a goldfish, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm very much in favor of like just doing those type of things, giving ownership. Like coaches are so afraid of doing that. They're so adverse to saying, okay, well, you can control this. Like, what do you want to do for this drill? Like that would, like, there's some coaches that I know and I say in my circles, but that I've worked with and chatted with that would be like, you do what? You're the coach. You're supposed to say, this is how it's going to be, or I'm going to break my foot off in your, and it's just not like that. And they respect you a lot more. And you still talk tough to them. You still get after them, and you're still like, even from just a straight teaching perspective now, because that's where I'm at. It's the same concept. Like I had a class today. I about had to say, shut the F up, but I didn't. But like they wouldn't shut up. So I was like, and like calling people out across the room, like that's like number one thing, like not to do. But I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, okay, but you've never been in a classroom before, so like you don't know that politely telling somebody to get off their phone is not going to work. They're just going to look at you and stay on their phone. You have to be like, hey, you have to get a little bit extreme, not like don't go overboard, of course, but just kind of
I
push the
like to
envelope.
use I call it my character building words. I use those all the time.
Yes, I do that too. And I'm like, hey, I asked a kid yesterday, hey, are you allergic to points? You allergic to points? Like, do you like sitting on a 34? Like, I asked him that. Or like with football, I would say, hey, like you're allergic to the football. Like you don't want to, like it's you don't want to catch it. You're scared of the
Mhm.
ball. And I would obviously not take this calmly, but like, I used to get after people. And there are times where I miss it, and there are times where I don't.
Yeah,
And so,
trust me, I'll be there sometimes too. But at the same time, if I can give anybody that wants to coach, here's my best advice I can give you: be fair and treat your players fairly. Don't treat them all the same, but you treat each one fairly.
fair is not equal.
Yes,
You'll learn that. You're like,
real
well, yeah,
fast.
you'll learn that because like if you're a good coach, you know exactly who you can scream at, who you need to pull aside and put your arm around them and say, okay, look, you royally screwed that one up, but it's okay. Here's how you're going to unscrew it up next time. And you just kind of roll with it. Right. So,
Mhm.
and yeah, it's going to be great, man. It's going to be great. If this is who I think it is, Salacio, what's up, dude? I used to coach with him at Ryan. I think is who that is, based on the first name.
Nice.
Yeah, he was one of my favorite guys that I coached with. I loved him. Receiver coach. Man, he was one of the realest ones that I've ever worked with. Man, he was. He would tell it like it is. I mean, him and I from minute one would just we vibed, man, and it was so much fun. Like just chatting it up with him during breaks, during film sessions. He played at a high level, so like it was it was fun to hear stories from him, man. Good Lord, man, that's a name I haven't heard in a while too, man. So, dude, he found the show. Hell yeah, hell yeah. So, but yeah, it's and just to give the viewers a confirmation there, Salacio. That's oh my gosh, yeah. So, yeah, yeah, it's great, man. It's great. So, Down the stretch, who you got? You got Jeff Davis this week, obviously.
Jeff Davis this week. Then we got a big one against Worth. We go Jeff Davis, Worth, Fitzgerald, Brantley, and then Berry and finish out the region. Then the playoffs start. So it's coming fast. It's here. So
yep, down the stretch they come, right?
Super good out there. Here it is. Here it is.
Do the kids standings watch?
Nah, they could care less.
Yeah, they just
our kids don't. They don't worry about that. They're looking at who's got the next TikTok dance. If they scored a touchdown and things like that. And we don't poll watch either. Until the end. No, we do it for our playoffs just because we're on the power rankings deal. But other than that, we don't bring it up.
Yeah,
we let the people outside of us talk about it more than we do.
Yeah, that's good.
People that think they're important.
Yeah, because you could you could get wrapped up in that, and the kids are like, oh, well, this and that, and whatever. But yeah, it's cool. But yeah, man, it's Salacio Sanford, man. Wow. What a freaking name to show up on our comment section, dude. I'm still blown away by that. Like that's it, that's just randomly from the past, I was thinking about it the other day too.
Love to see it. Yeah, one of my kids just texted me now saying what time we got to be there in the morning. I'm like, it's Thursday, same time. Why aren't you in the bed?
Yeah, go to bed. Yeah,
these are things we deal with as a coach. You're never just when you think they're just safe, it's not.
Yeah. Salacio, if you're still watching, we got to get you on the show. We got to get the wide receiver talk between you and Israel going, and I can just sit back and enjoy it.
I'm down. Just let me know when.
Yeah, come on, Salacio. Get on the show. We need to get you on the show. This is regular guys, so it's not like anything like soup. There's no journalism here whatsoever. So we're coaches talking coaching. So this is your official invite if you're still with me, if you're still here. So just DM me, call me, text me, whatever. Hope you have the same number. I think you have the same number, right? So I'm having a conversation with the comments. Yeah, just let me know.
I think
I still have your number, Salacio. My phone's updated like several times, and numbers just how iPhones are. But well, that's going to wrap it up for us. I know, Israel, you got early morning practice, so you got would you call it? It was it's
called polish.
Polish day. Yeah, so it's polish day. It's not walkthrough, it's polish day. And so have a good polish session, get some rest, and Salacio, hit me up on X. We'll get it set up for the near future. So that being said, we are the regular guys. Go Dawgs. Hope all your picks hit on FanDuel or wherever it is you place your bets, and we'll come at you later. Come at you next week. Probably gonna start on Mondays now. And we'll see you then. Peace.
Yes, peace.